Hello and welcome to a friendly chat. Today we're talking comics again. I've had quite a few on movies recently, so I thought I'd better switch it up a little bit. And this time I'm going to be talking about DC's crises. I don't know how do you pronounce it. Crisis. Um, and it's something it's something big they do quite regularly. It started in 1985 with the Epic Crisis on Infinite Earths, and just every year or so they do another one. Now I'm not going to talk about every one of them, not in one video anyway, but I'm gonna pick and choose a few of them and do a video on just that one story arc and crossovers. Um, and yeah, I'm just going to pick it's just ones that I really liked. Like some of them are really good, some of them are very ordinary, and some of them are just ho hum. But that's just personal opinion. I mean, if you like the ones that I don't like, that's all cool. Don't worry about it. I'm not judging you at all. Um, but yes, it's one of those events that you sort of expect to happen each year, and sometimes they're sort of come out of left field, and then sometimes they're like there's little threads sort of throughout the stories and titles where it suddenly all comes to a head and you're like, that's what that is. Uh, but yeah, as I said, DC have been doing them since 1985. Just to list a few off the top of my head. There was like Crisis, of course, in 85. There was Legends, Millennium, Invasion, um, Zero. Was it Zero Hour? Yeah, Zero Hour. Uh, Final Night. Like they were just just really big stories where the fate of the entire human race and Earth stemmed on the actions of the heroes. But this first one, I'm going to talk about Invasion because it was a fun story and it did involve everybody, and the fallout of it actually changed some superheroes, some for the better, some for the worse, and created some new characters, or at least gave some new characters powers. So yes, 1989's Invasion will be the first cab off the rank, so to speak. And let us begin.
And now the news. Don't touch that dial.
So like all of the Crisis stories, there's a core mini series and then a bunch of crossovers that you can read if you want to, or if you just collect certain titles, you just read those ones and they're involved in the core mini series. And pretty much that's about it. Invasion was different, as it was three really thick issues. I think they were like 80 pages each. Um, there was three different artists on it. Unfortunately, I wish the one artist stayed all the way through it, but for the first issue and half the second issue, Todd McFarlane did the art. Keith Giffen did the pencils for the second half of issue 2, and then he did the layouts for issue 3, and Bart Sears did the interior finishes and the cover. And it was. I think he did all the covers actually, Bart Sears. But yes, Bart Sears did all the three covers. That's right. And it was kind of interesting because basically a coalition of aliens decide that they've had enough of Earth being like full of like superpowered characters, and them basically getting in the way of the rest of the universe with their human sort of values. So they decide we're going to just wipe them out and just take them all out for good. And it was kind of interesting because all different races all came together, and there was like the dominators of these really sort of thin characters with big teeth, and they were sort of in charge of the whole operation. There were the Kuns, who were basically the muscle, There was trying to remember the Dulons, which were shapeshifters. Um, the Thanagarians were there because, why not? The Hawkman's people, and they were like under a fascist regime at this point in DC, which unfortunately for me, I've only really ever seen the Hawk people under a fascist regime. So I was like, what's new? Then you get the Daxamites, which are basically like Kryptonians. They have similar powers, except their vulnerability is lead rather than kryptonite, which makes them really, really useless when you're shooting them. And there was like scions, I believe. They were like genetically, they'd like experiment in genetic engineering and things like that. So there was a whole bunch of different races, and yeah, so they put together this. The Dominators put together this alliance to invade Earth and eliminate the threat of metahumans for good and or for evil. And it was an interesting concept. It's like, because reading comics over the years, you suddenly realize, yeah, sometimes Superman goes out into space and he flexes his muscles and says, "Stop this," or there's a legion of superheroes in the 31st century, or so you kind of understand that the aliens are like, just stay in your own backyard and stop interfering with us. But as I said, humanity has their own moral code, and they're like, sometimes they just can't stay out of the way. So yeah, it was kind of a really fun concept. It was written by Keith Giffen and Bill Mantlo. So Keith Giffen was at the time doing lots and lots of things. He was doing Justice League or Justice League International or Justice League America, whatever it was that month, with J.M. DeMatteis and Bill Mantlo, of course. He is responsible for great things like Rom the Space Knight for Marvel, Rocket Raccoon for Marvel, like lots and lots of cool stuff. He's been around for ages. So I'm just going to quickly pull up some other things that Bill Mantlo was responsible for. Cloak and Dagger, yes. A lot of Marvel stuff. He did a really good run on the Hulk back in I think the 70s and early 80s. He was responsible for the Micronauts comic as well, the toy tie-in. So a lot of stuff from Marvel. Yeah, no, he's a great writer, and he did a really nice run in Alpha Flight as well. So yeah, but this was sort of more of a, it's different for him going to DC, seeing that I believe it's pretty much, as far as I know, it's the only stuff he's done for DC. But regardless of that, it's still a pretty good story. And as invasions happen, they happen in waves. So yeah, the attack is quite unexpected, and yeah, basically just to be on the right side of things, the Dominators make sure the Darkseid is not going to interfere in this. So yeah, they sort of manage to they promise him that they won't destroy the planet, which will stop the anti-life equation sort of thing happening. So Darkseid's kind of like, all right, fine, I'll leave you to it, but just watch yourselves. Because yeah, the last thing you need is Darkseid as an enemy. It doesn't matter how many alien races you have on your side. So yeah, they start taking out former members of the Green Lantern Corps. They attack the Omega Men, which is, I love the Omega Men. I was trying to remember their name the other day, and I couldn't remember to save my life. But yeah, Tiger and a whole bunch of the Omega Men, they sort of get captured. Poor old Ran gets attacked, and that means that Adam Strange is sort of captured. And even when he uses his Zeta beam to escape, get back to Earth where he comes from, when he gets there, his helicopter's been destroyed and the aliens are waiting for him, so they capture him again. It's like, damn it. But yeah, so yes, there's three sort of waves of attacks over the 3 issues. And yeah, there's a bunch of crossovers, which is as you can expect with these things. So So yeah, I'll just talk a little bit about some of the crossovers. So unlucky for Australia, we're part of the first wave of attacks, and they take out the Justice League facility in Australia, and that's where I think we find out for the first time that we have our own superhero, Tasmanian Devil. Yay! um, but um, but yeah, like the series, it was really cool. They'd have in every issue, they'd have like a little poster, and it'd have like little like, and it looked like something from like World War II or something, where it had all the arrows pointing to on the map of the Earth of where the aliens were attacking. Then it'd have a little picture of who was there, and it's like, oh yeah, the aliens down here, and only the Flash and who was helping the Flash? Manhunter, I think it was. Yeah, Flash and Manhunter are helping defeat the aliens here, and it's like Superman's over here doing this, and the Doom Patrol are down here doing this. I love the Doom Patrol. Swamp Thing is basically going, "What are you doing in my swamp?" Yeah, Swamp Thing really made them pay. So I love Swamp Thing as well. Batman's doing his, and Captain Adam's doing his thing, like it's and the Justice League are doing their thing. So everyone's doing something around the world because, as I said, the whole world's being invaded. So it's all hands on deck. So that was really, really neat. I used to love how they do that, where it's like every issue would be like, yeah, Starman is over here. He's dealing with this, and Animal Man's down there dealing with that, and Wonder Woman's over here, and Firestorm's up there doing this. And it was really cool because even if you weren't reading all the titles, it would like let you know that here's the people that are actually helping when you're not reading the miniseries. And there was like little notes where they'd have like oh yeah, Firestorm's over here, and as I said, Flash and Manhunter are down here doing this. So, you just get like little glimpses of what was going on. And if you wanted to read it in great detail, you just grab those issues, which I thought was pretty good. It was a good way of doing it. And, the Suicide Squad were doing this stuff, and Amanda Waller's like going, you go over there and you do it. So yeah, that was really, really neat. So I had, two issues of actual invasions, like of just attacks and stuff like that. Um, and it was looking pretty dire because you had the Daxamites showed up, and they were just like really, really mean. The trouble is there's a lot of lead on Earth and a lot of lead even in the atmosphere. So they got not just weak, they pretty much were dying badly, which was kind of funny when they picked a fight with Superman and I believe Guy Gardner. Where's Guy Gardner love to fight? So yeah, that was kind of a really interesting sort of failure for the Daxamites. The Kun. Oh man, the Kun, as I said, they're muscle, but they're not brains. So yes, the Kun attacked the Justice League headquarters, and the only one left is Oberyn, Mr. Miracle's partner. And they show up and they're like, surrender and prepare to surrender and die. And he's like, don't you mean surrender? And like, no, we're going to kill you anyway. He's like, oh, okay, then I don't need to surrender. And during the battle, where they really do, they come close to killing Oberyn, but he finds one of Blue Beetle's strobe guns, which is like bright flash of light. Blue Beetle's very much I'm a non-violent, well, not non-violent, but he's a non-lethal hero, and he just shoots them. Sorry, he shrinks them down. They get shrunk down to like really tiny, but they still have like blast weapons and lasers and stuff, so it's still going to hurt. But their eyes are not able to deal with such a big flashlight, and they all get knocked out. And then he puts them all in little roach motels just to keep them out of the way. So that was kind of the Kuns dealt with, the Daxamites dealt with. But like anything else in an invasion, there's the spite factor, and this is what was interesting as it affected certain characters, and that is the main part of the third part, which is the enemy set off a gene bomb basically to try and take everybody out, and it doesn't quite work the way they expect it to. And some characters get depowered, some characters' powers go crazy, and some people get powers, like Maxwell Lord, the head of the Justice League, well, at least the liaison, I suppose, is probably more accurate, to the government. And yeah, it was an interesting idea, because that's one thing I do like about their DC when they do their Crisis. They sort of go, right, what can we do? How can we shake up the universe, so to speak, and what can we do with characters that haven't been done with yet? So they sort of go, oh well, making a character's powers go haywire can make it add some extra stress to the character and add some extra drama to the character, and that was one of the things that happened to Animal Man. His powers went a bit off kilter, and they weren't predictable anymore. And as I said, Maxwell Lord gained a sort of a psychic ability to make people do whatever he wanted them to. So yeah, it was an interesting sort of story arc. Great, as I said, even like the McFarlane art is really beautiful, but even the Bart Sears stuff is really good as well. But I still would have loved it if it was just all one artist. I'm not with everything. I'm just like, stay consistent. But yeah, there was some interesting stuff, like interesting crossover bits. They did like a Daily Planet special for the Invasion, which was done like a newspaper and like a magazine. It was really cool, and it went into a little bit more detail on who was fighting where and what they were dealing with and stuff like that, which was really cool. I like when they did stuff like that. Like they, I mean, it just adds a little bit more kind of flavor to the whole thing. And the annoying thing is it's not the same size as a comic book. It was like magazine size, so it's like it doesn't really look good on a shelf if you got it right with the other books. And definitely not the way I do it, because as I said, I bind everything up. But yeah, so yeah, as I said, it was an interesting idea of all the aliens getting peeved with Earth and going, we're sick of you interfering, we're going to invade you, we're going to stop you by getting rid of metahumans, and yay. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out so well for the aliens. So yeah, there was yeah, no, I do recommend Invasion. It is in trade paperback form. You can get the 3 issues in one sort of trade. It is very fun. Honestly, that's all you really need to read for it. You don't really need to read all of it unless you're a completist, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a bit of a completist. I like having all of it. But yeah, the trade paperback is pretty good. It's I don't believe they've ever decided to do a like an omnibus or anything with all of it yet. So yeah, but it's easy enough to track down all the other issues if you like that. But yeah, the other thing that was really neat is, of course, because of it's an event, and it's an important event because it affects everything. New stuff happens, and basically a few new titles came out of it. A few titles were modified. Justice League got another spin-off, which was Justice League Europe, which was kind of neat. And it had it was like, I think it was like Captain Atom, Flash, Rocket Red, Elongated Man and his wife, and I think it was Power Girl. Basically, we're a new team, and they were set up in Paris. I think Wonder Woman was there as well. And it was another, I think Bart Sears did the art for that one too, and it was another DeMatteis Giffen's comic, and occasionally a crossover into Justice League America. So it was neat. It was a good sort of spin-off, as I said, from Invasion, because it was like, hey, we should have heroes set up on the other side of the planet just in case this happens again, and we can get there straight away, even though they have teleporters and they can just go beep beep and get over there anyway. But it's kind of smart, sort of not having everyone in one sort of location. There's enough heroes in North America that they could afford to put a few in Europe. So so that was one of the cool spin-offs. Legion was another one, which is an acronym. I do not know what the acronym is. Let me click on it and see if I can work it out. But Legion, it was a series that every year it was like, for the first year it was like Legion 89, and it was like Legion 90, Legion 91, Legion 92. Let's see if, so it's not really like Legion of superheroes, but it was, these guys came together because of Invasion. Kevin Maguire did some of the art. That's cool. Do like Kevin Maguire. So yeah, Bill Mantlo is credited as creator on this, and writer. Okay, so he actually did more than just Invasion. He did Legion. Legion had a spin-off called Rebels, which was also an acronym. Let's see, Legion. Like Rebels isn't actually got what Rebels means here, but oh my god, that's yeah, that's kind of annoying. I can't seem to find what Legion means. But yeah, they were basically like like space cops, and there was they were led by a Brainiac. I think it was Brainiac. I don't know, it was Brainiac 5. There was a Brainiac that was in charge. Vril Dox, sorry. He was Brainiac. That's the only character I can remember. I never actually read this series. I knew people who liked it. They said it was really cool, but I never read it, which is the only Legion I think I read was one of the annuals. But then occasionally Lobo would show up in Legion and just annoy the living heck out of Vril Dox, because yeah, it was it was just Lobo's way of just being an annoying person. Because Drox it's Vril Dox now. Dox had basically Lobo over a barrel, where it's like, if you could defeat him, he was allowed to leave, and so every time Lobo said, "I'm challenging you to a fight," and Dox would just go, "Cool, game of chess then," and Lobo's like, "Damn it," because he could beat him in a hand-to-hand combat, but he can't beat him mentally. And every time Dox would just pick something that was like a game of mental. It was all about his mental capacity to win, and yeah, Lobo was just constantly grinding his teeth, going, "Curse you!" So yeah, that was a series that sort of came out of Invasion as well. So yeah, it was a neat, as I said, a neat concept. The issue, I think it was an issue of Justice League, it was issue 24, I believe. Basically led into the creation of Justice League Europe, which was hilarious because the entire Justice League are together in their headquarters, and the Kun returned to regular size and decided to get revenge and kick the door in. And Kevin Maguire's art is just amazing. Like, no one does facial expressions like him. Like, they're just beautiful. And they just had these two panels of art which were identical. And it's just everyone sort of just looking at this door that just got kicked in behind them. And Hal Jordan has this beautiful sideways look, like, what is going on here? And then the second panel is Guy Gardner going, "Hey, those are guns!" Then everyone like basically fights each other to get to beat up the Kuns, who then decide to use the teleporters to get away. Doesn't end well for them, but yeah, it was. But yeah, during that sort of thing, Oberon's sort of talking, I believe to, it's John Jones, Martian Manhunter, and that's where they come up with the concept of getting another team together. So yeah, as I said, like, it's a good issue for fights. Like, if you just want to see superheroes fighting bad guys, the crossovers are brilliant for that, because it's just like, yeah, you got Superman versus Daxamites, you've got Guy Gardner versus Daxamites, you got Flash and Manhunter versus guys down in, I can't think they were down in Buenos Aires or somewhere like that. I could be wrong about where they were, but yeah, like all the heroes are doing their thing all around the planet in their own titles, and it was a good concept of basically just it's 3 issues of Big Biff. But as I said, the issues were 80 pages, so they were big. So it was a big idea, big story, big things happen. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. It was, and it happened over 3 months. It was just like, got it out real quick. Um, but yeah, so, I said there's been heaps and heaps of these sort of events, crisis, each year. But the invasion was a fun one. Like it was actually really good because stuff happened. There were stakes. There really were because the amount of like invading aliens. It wasn't just like, oh, there's 10 guys that'll do. It was like, no, there was thousands of ships of them just blotting out the sun as they come to Earth to basically wipe out metahumans. So yeah, it's one of those things where you think, well, yeah, okay, Superman's really, really strong and he's, really invulnerable and stuff like that, but he can't stop everything. He can't be everywhere. Neither can Martian Manhunter, neither can, the Flash. So it's like, it was like, how are they going to deal with this? And it was really, really neatly done. So I do recommend Invasion from 1989. There are 3 issues. There's about probably 40. Nah, it's probably not that many crossovers. It's being a bit. Let me have a look. It's probably about 40 issues in total, crossing over. But yeah, it's as I said, good, solid fun, good biff, good action. As I said, stakes were high. Stuff was affected by the gene bomb. Marvel, it's funny, Chris Claremont actually decided during an issue of Uncanny X-Men, issue 245, which is drawn by Rob Liefeld, they had a go of it. They just because the X-Men were in Australia at the time, so they had an alien invasion in Australia. It was a big parody of invasion. I've got to say they really nailed the Australian, us Aussies, because the Prime Minister really was just nonplussed by the whole thing. He was just like, whatever. The aliens decided to show their strength by destroying the Sydney Opera House, because that's pretty much the only thing in Australia anyone knows about. And going, what do you think of that? And the Aussie Prime Minister's just like, yeah, I really hated that building. I mean, I'm glad you got rid of it for us. Thanks. It's like, yep. They were a bit weird, but no, it was a funny sort of issue. I got a good laugh out of it anyway because I was still getting X-Men at the time. But yeah, no, it's as I said, as far as crises go, it was a good one. It was really good. It came on the back of Millennium, which I think was actually not a very strong crisis involving the Manhunters. And when you had like Crisis on Infinite Earths was ridiculously epic. Like, yeah, it was like the entire multiverse was getting destroyed. So it wasn't just the fate of one Earth; it was the fate of all Earths. Legends was really good. Legends was solid. It was another one where it's sort of post-crisis. It was setting new things up, like with Batman and with Superman and things like that, sort of getting things sorted. And then Millennium sort of came along. And it was very, in my opinion, it was very lackluster. It was good art, really good art, but it was very lackluster by comparison. It was also 8 parts. It's like an 8-issue miniseries, and it was like that extra 2 months sort of made it drag on even more. So I don't know if that was the reason why they just went, let's just make it 3 80-page issues, because we'll get to the meat of it real quick, and then we'll get it over with real quick. And I mean, if that was the idea, well, it worked. I mean, it does not sort of it's not like trying to use my words here. It doesn't drag. It just gets right into there. But yeah, some of the other sort of effects of that's right. Oh, sorry. One of the other interesting things, it was sort of the end of Doom Patrol as superheroes, because soon after that, well, when the gene bomb went off, um, the next issue, that was when Grant Morrison came on board, and it became like a Vertigo title, and they just went, all right, it's outside the DC standard universe now, so and it's, don't get me wrong, it's brilliant. So yeah, it's interesting that some of the things were modified for the in interesting ways, but that was a fascinating one because and same with Animal Man. Animal Man was like, yeah, he got affected by it, but his title once again was like a Vertigo title as well, so it still affected him, like the gene bomb did affect him in his title as well. So yeah, interesting stuff. Good action. Good, a little bit of bit of comedy, and there's quite a bit of comedy in there, especially when dealing with Giffen and DeMatteis. So yeah, DC's 1989 Crisis Invasion. I give it a thumbs up. I reckon you should. I mean, hopefully I haven't spoiled too much of this. I try not to do that because even though it is like 35 years old or so, it's yeah, if you haven't read, I don't really want to destroy it for you. But yeah, I do recommend it. As I said, you can get it in trade paperback form still. And yeah, so Giffen, Mantlo, McFarlane, Bart Sears, they did a really good job for for a nice little invasion in the DC universe. So yeah, not an overly detailed video this week, but I just want to break up the things a little bit and not just keep doing. I was planning on doing another one on movies, but as I said, I want to break it up a little bit just to. I don't want to keep people going, all right, talking about bloody movies again. So yes, so that was just a short little thing talking about DC's Invasion. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and consider leaving a like and subscribe if you are interested in more content. I will be once again uploading the next episode of my Flash rewatch on Tuesday, which is I think episodes 6 and 7. And next week, I'm not 100% sure what I'm planning to do. I probably will do the video, the movie chat video that I was planning on doing this week, next week, unless I think of something else comic related. But unless something new and wonderful comes across across my desk, which could happen. It does happen occasionally. As I said, I'm still ordering books for customers, so occasionally something weird and wonderful does come in. I go, wow, that's pretty good. But yeah, anyway, as I said, hopefully you enjoyed this information on Invasion. And yeah, if you like it, do check it out. I do recommend it. It's probably available on Amazon and all those places. So your local LCS. But other than that, keep on reading, keep on listening, keep on watching, keep on gaming, and keep on Neil gaming. That was terrible, and I'm terribly sorry. But anyway, I shall see you next video. So have a good one. Bye bye.
More updates. Damn the man! Save the Empire!